in alignment with the frequency of source. The source is the center of this universe. It is the frequency of your divine creator. Nothing else, nothing less than that. So if you work with angels, if you work with ascended masters, if you work with whoever you work with in terms of your spirit connection, that is all fine. But I'm telling you to specifically ask for help from your divine creator. Very simple. Just say, don't you think that if you are working with angels and Saint Germain and other beings out there, that they will also help you with this connection? So I'm telling you to specifically say, the divine creator and my divine father creator, I am asking you for help at this time. Very specifically, very clearly. And you will be amazed at the results. Okay? Let's see if there are any questions here. All right, some comments maybe. I recognize all these symptoms big time. Did you appear in a different form, or did you say appear in a different body? Okay, this is about the physical ascension. I'm not going to cover those details quite yet. Like I said, I want to focus on what's happening where we are today, which is the mental stage of the ascension. If globally we're going through this mental ascension, will we see more chaos as the collective shift? Yes, of course. That's why we're having this discussion today. There's a lot of turbulence. That is what I'm saying, is that as the collective shifts, you're going to see, ups and downs, sudden ups and downs, and that is, chaos. That translates as chaos. And that's more than ever. This is when you need to be solid. This is when you need to be stable. This is when you need to be connected. That's why I'm giving you these very specific things to do more than ever. For those who missed last time's webcast, I also did the Healing Circle 6. Highly recommend to go back and do this. This is a very, very powerful meditation that keeps you very, very solid and stable very quickly. So make sure you do that. It's available on the website also. Somebody's saying, I also have a lot of pressure, energy frequency through the head. Yes, of course. This is how it feels to you. Like I said, it's all inside the head, very uncomfortable and not feeling so good. Okay. How do you know that the Earth grid is finally going to be permanently in place for us and cannot be tampered with? Well, I know because I have been all of the information that has come through me. I'm very clear on. You can go back to the books and all of the other information. In fact, for those who did read, who do pay attention to the details in the divine plan, I talked about a lot of that's what's happening right now in 3D years before it actually happened. And for example, all the governmental collapses and things like that. And so there's some truth to there. So that's why I know. And for you to know, you don't have to simply believe. You can use the merging process that I have taught also in the classes, and you can find out this information for yourself. You can merge with the Earth grid, and then you can feel, again, I'm going very quickly here. It's not a full class on this, but if you go back to the classes on retrieving information, truth for yourself, there is a merging process that happens, and you can see the validation. You can get your own validation. Okay. All right. So after the last healing session, I received a long download of Arabic type symbols. Do you have any thoughts on that? The last session, I'm not sure which one. I think it was it the Ascension? Oh no, it was the loneliness. That was another very, very powerful session because we worked on a very deep level regarding this reconnection. And in fact, we did some collective thing at the time. one point during that session that had to do with the Egyptian uprising going on, and so you may have I don't know, heard some things from that collective consciousness at the time. So that's probably it. The collective consciousness is you are tapped into, and your brain channels are opening up, so you could be receiving different types of downloads. Okay, next question. If our kids don't want to do the connection to source, is it a good idea to really encourage them even though they are resistant? Yeah, of course, kids and other people, family, friends, if they don't want to do this, you don't have to force it down. They will not respond in this way anyway. You could simply do the connection with them energetically. You know, it's not against their free will. If it is, then you will certainly know. And so they won't let you. But I think on a higher level, they recognize that frequency, and you could do it with them energetically as a surrogate, and they will be very happy. Okay. Okay, next question. I bought last year's spiritual trip in Egypt beginning February 24th. Wow, for 2 weeks. I am stressed with that project. Is it a good idea to go there and to get there? Again, you know, this is a personal question, folks. For those of you who have now with the consciousness of that trip or whatever, and however you feel, first you have to release the fears around the response, and once you have cleaned your slate about that, then you can ask the question, should I really go? And then your heart will tell you. If it shuts down, if it feels constricted, then that's a no. And if it opens up, then that's a yes. Again, I recommend that you go to the website and look at the guidance sessions to help you with your individual session, your individual, guidance. What about traveling? Like traveling to another continent for some weeks? It depends on the alignment. Okay. Again, this is your own particular project. I still would recommend to seriously look into any long-term movement. Like I said, this is a year to be stable, but if you have to take a quick trip somewhere, it's not the same as going for several months. So just ask your own guidance if it's appropriate for you. In general, I have explained the trends. Excuse me. What if you are the only one in your area doing this work? How do you find your physical support connection? Is there enough to be connected through internet and telephone? Well, of course, it's very much enough. That's why we're doing these online things, the Facebook thing now, all of these conferences. We're trying to do the healing sessions. Of course, it's absolutely fine. But if you can have, like I said, someone, doesn't have to be a whole group of people, just one or two main people in a 3D sense, I think you will enjoy it as well. Okay, what happens after March is the end of the interval. What will be different? Okay, so this segment, this time frame of November until March is the most drastic time. Everything is very gradual. Everything continues to happen. Nothing suddenly just stops. It doesn't work this way. And the universal energy, the universal work, the divine flow doesn't just like suddenly happen and suddenly disappear. Everything is interconnected and happen gracefully and gradually. So this window is when it gets very difficult, drastic, because it's almost like you've been unplugging, and then the entire frequency kind of drops. But it doesn't mean that it just drops and then that's it. It just goes away. It just means that this is the most difficult, the biggest gap between the old and the new. After that, the new kind of frequency will continue to exist, and the process continues to go on. Okay. I have the biggest concern with not ascending, of course. So that's why, because we think that ascending is a big deal and it's very complex and that you have to take your body with you and all of that. That's why I'm trying to shed some light here and say that you ascend on different levels. You have already, if you've been tapping into this energy the last couple of years or understanding all of this, then you are already ascending. Like I said, you have to first ascend energetically. If you've been doing the connection to source, you have been doing that. This year, you are doing step 2, which is the mental. You are looking ahead, and you are also looking at you are also going back to the typical definition of ascension, that you are having to change body and stuff like that, and that's giving you a lot of confusion and worry. So just don't go there. Focus on today. Focus on aligning your mind channels, aligning your frequency range, aligning your energy field, and this will naturally guide you to the next step. There's really not very much to do. It sounds complicated. See, this is what happened. All of this, you guys, is actually very organic. All of this is already taking care of itself by itself. But because excuse me, in a 3D, there's a lot of, like I said, fluctuation going on. We are also so trained to observe reality in a 3D way with our human mind, and not truly experiencing, using our full physical brain. Only we use a part of the brain to understand for our sensory perception. So what happens is that we get distracted and pulled by our 3D reality. We see people struggling and suffering, and we hear these news, and it's up and down and up and down. And so we start to lose our center, and we start to think that we are also in a big chaos, and we are being pulled up and down and right and left, when in fact we're just responding to all of these things happening outside of us. And so it makes it very difficult. That's why I'm sharing all this information with you and sharing the tools, so that you don't get pulled, so that you can find your center no matter what is happening around you. And so, but in fact, everything that is happening, this whole ascension thing, is already happening naturally. It's kind of like, you can look at it as growing up, you know? I mean, do you really grow up? Do you make yourself do you yourself change your hormones and change, saying, oh, okay, I just turned 13. Now I got to change my hormone and change my hair and change my body. You're not doing it. It's an automatic inner mechanism that happens spontaneously on its own. All that is required is your intent. Your consciousness is directing. Your consciousness is the one telling what you really want. If you simply believe, you focus your intent on what you want, and you allow the mechanism, the intelligence of your consciousness knows exactly what to do. Okay? So my clients are really having trouble sleeping. Is there any help we can suggest or just muddle through this year? Again, just do the best you can. For example, avoid caffeine and things like that. It sounds very simplistic, but just those, as much as you can. All of these little details will add up. But also knowing that what's happening, should also help you drift into sleep much faster. See, what happens is you're not sleeping, then you start to say, oh, okay, I'm not sleeping, what's going on? I'm exhausted. And so that keeps you awake. And then you say, well, what's wrong with me? And why is this going on? And I've tried this. And then the frustration kind of adds to the problem. And then you don't sleep, you see. That's why understanding the process, understanding the bigger picture should help you alleviate all of these symptoms, in addition to the typical smaller things, such as what you're eating, what you're, your exercise pattern, all that stuff. But the